Alright, what is good, Slap City? In this video, we're going to break down the Robert Trujillo versus Dakota McGregor inaugural lightweight title fight from Power Slap 12. If you'd like to skip the intro, go ahead and do that now. I have chapters in my breakdowns. This is going to be an in-depth breakdown, so if that's not what you're looking for, then you should just go over to Power Slap's YouTube channel, and you can watch the entire event in full. Anyway, so I was in the building for this one, and it was a great fight. This was a true battle, and it was important to have a good fight here for the lightweight division because the division had a ton of hype coming off road to the title, and it sat dormant for what felt like forever, simply due to all the fights that fell through. Yeah, both guys delivered in this one. It was an exciting fight, and congrats to Trujillo, reminding us why he's called the real deal. I mean, he put on a masterclass. Now, it wasn't spotless. I do think that he got away with a foul, but as it stood with no calls, I mean, it was basically flawless. And Dakota fought a great fight too. He went toe-to-toe with Trujillo for 5 rounds, taking massive shots. Now, this was a massive jump for Dakota, and I thought he looked comfortable for the most part. I mean, going from no crowd to co-main event live on YouTube, the nerves must have been flowing for Dakota. And at one point, the crowd was even chanting USA. And so I was impressed by Dakota that he was able to not let it affect him. Dakota didn't make any excuses. When you're not able to visually rock somebody or get a reaction out of them when you slap them, it's going to be virtually impossible to win a decision. But he showed ridiculous heart. He took the hits, recovered properly when he was rocked. You're going to have to put him out stiff. Otherwise, he's just going to keep coming. Now, I saw a lot of comments about the reffing in this fight, and we're going to go over all that because I still see some confusion from Power Slap fans regarding what is a foul and what isn't. I saw comments about Dakota flinching. I saw comments about Trujillo stepping. Power Slap can keep their fans in the dark by not keeping their rules updated. You look worse when you have rules on your website that you don't enforce than you do if you were to just make your rules more lenient and enforce them. At the end of the day, no one's going to stop watching Power Slap because the rules are a little bit less safe. So regarding stepping, so it doesn't say in the rules, but you're actually allowed to pivot after contact has been made on your slap. I've talked to multiple strikers that have competed recently who have confirmed that in the rules meeting, you're told that you're allowed to pivot as long as it's after the slap is landed. And I mean, it says you cannot pivot in the rules. So I don't blame fans for being confused. So when you're looking for a stepping foul, you're only looking during the windup until the point of contact. Otherwise, it's illegal. Now, regarding the flinching, so you're allowed to move a little bit. It just can't affect the power of the slap. So there can be a situation where you flinch because you move a little bit, but it's not necessarily a foul because it doesn't affect the power of the strike. And so when someone moves during a slap, as long as the slap lands effectively and powerfully, then the majority of the time they're going to let it go because at the end of the day, I mean, the less fouls, the better. The show would be shitty if it just is a foul every time. It wouldn't even look like a professional sport. So like, I'm cool with, if it's close, letting it go. I think that tie should go to the striker. And at least here, they weren't just calling on one side. Like they just decided that they were going to let everything go. And I'd rather that than have them pick and choose. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, could there have been fouls on both sides? Absolutely. Would it have affected the outcome of the fight? Absolutely. But there's just so many variables. It's like if someone flinched, then the other person should have gotten a slap twice. If someone stepped, then it should have been a 10-8. There's just so many what ifs that at the end of the day, I prefer that they were letting them go like they did in this fight as opposed to maybe calling one and not the other. Now, the camera work. And by camera work, I mean the angles they show on the replays were absolutely horrendous for the entire night, not just this fight. We got absolutely none of Dakota slaps from over his right shoulder. I mean, that's the standard view that they give. There was just a lot to go over, so this breakdown took longer than it normally would. Plus, it's 5 rounds, so. Now, lastly, so there was a huge height discrepancy in this fight. Dakota's slap looked completely different from the one you saw him land on the show when he got his knockout wins. This was definitely partly due to the height difference. I mean, Trujillo is 5'7" and Dakota is 6'1", and the same goes for Trujillo. He was slapping 6 inches upward. So you have to factor that in as well. And yeah, with that said, let's get into it. Dakota won the toss, so he was slapping first. Trujillo I think he's only won one coin toss in his whole career, which is pretty nuts.
Hours or more. All right, so it's the dog striking first. Dakota McGregor, we've seen the power. Let's see if he can bring it here against Trujillo.
Right on three with a measure. Yeah, Dakota McGregor's really impressed me.
Stop it here real quick. So we've never seen Dakota do this before. So he's leaning like the lean on one, but he's going right on three.
That match that he had against Hernandez, it looked like he was done. Then he gets the knockout. That was a good shot. The chin on Trujillo.
Okay, decent shot from Dakota. Trujillo thinks it was high. Okay, it looks choppy. It looked like he almost chopped him, and it definitely landed on the top half of the cheek. It's understandable why Trujillo would have felt that in the moment. I think that Dakota wasn't fully committed to the slap he was throwing here. It seemed like his hand was coming in on a level where he was going to swing up and through, but he was actually coming in flat, which kind of led to the chop. But if you watch closely, and I'll loop it, Trujillo does tilt a tiny bit before he gets hit, which is just going to add to the chop. It wasn't Dakota's best slap, to be honest. So Trujillo, right on three.
You ready here? You're set? Which hand? Right
Trujillo.
That's your measure. Right on three. Right
has
on
put
three.
on a ton of muscle as well.
And he's had 3 first-round knockouts in a row. And McGregor flinched badly there.
Okay, pretty good shot from Rob there. It looked like Dakota might have moved there. You'll see Herzog calling for a review, thinks he ducked, so we'll take a look at it. So I have the white lines for the target area on Dakota, and so if we play it, stop it here. So, in my opinion, this is a flinch. I think that they missed one here. You'll see that Trujillo, his hand lands exactly where he measured, and it hits Dakota in the temple when originally those lines were on the target area. But regardless, Dakota was able to eat it. Now, we'll take a look at Trujillo's feet. So, as I mentioned, you're allowed to pivot after the slap lands. So once Trujillo's hand hits Dakota's face, anything after that does not constitute a step and is not illegal. You can pivot, you can heel lift. Let's take a look at it. So you're allowed a minor heel lift before contact, and that's what this looks like to me. This looks like a minor heel lift to me. All right, Dakota, round 2, right on 3.
That's your measure.
Here we go, round 2. Remember, this is a 5-round fight.
Big wind up from McGregor.
Okay, good shot from Dakota. Watch Trujillo. Does the quick nom-nom for the crowd. Does a quick lap on his way back to the chalk. This is one thing that Dakota didn't do during the fight. He was working the crowd before and after the fight, but during the fight, in between slaps, he wasn't really trying to get a rise out of the crowd. And he couldn't in a lot of ways because in a few rounds, he was visibly rocked. But there was 1 or 2 where he could have, and something like that can win you the round in a close round. And that's something that you get from experience. But if you watch Trujillo in between slaps and when he works the crowd, it looks fluent, it looks effortless. All right, let's take a closer look. Boom, stop it here. I mean, mamma mia, right on the chin. It's me, Dakota. Trujillo just absolutely eats it, and his chin will go down as one of the best ever when it's all said and done. No doubt about it. You'll see the white line for Dakota's wrist. So he's using his whole hand here. He can't go any deeper, but you can still see his wrist. Boom! Look at the chalk explosion. And Dakota gets all the way through the slap. All right, so Trujillo, right on 3.
No problem whatsoever.
Are you set there? You set? Stand by. Which hand? What count?
Trujillo really wearing that on the left side of his face.
A lot of swelling there. Now, McGregor's got to be careful. Don't look at the jaw going. Shaking and baking.
Dakota goes down, finds a base. You can see Wolverine talking to him. This is textbook. Dakota's talking back. He pops up right around 8, walks in a straight line, and is cleared. You can see it on his face. Look at that. He knew This is absolutely textbook recovery from Dakota here. Great coaching from Wolverine, although don't take away from Dakota. He knows how to do that. If you watched him on the reality show, he's had to recover before. And so we know that he's really good at it. That was an absolute hammer from Trujillo. All right, let's take a closer look. Boom, stop it here. Okay, right in the target area. His wrist is like right at the front of Dakota's face. So the heel of your hand is allowed to land on their base, but it can't extend further than their chin. So this looks pretty close here. Dakota, he has a tendency to turn his head to the right before he gets slapped, and it kind of opens up your jaw a little bit. That's something that I noticed from Dakota in this fight. So if we loop it here, there's just the tiniest bit of movement on the brace from Dakota. That movement doesn't affect the power of the strike. It was a powerful strike. If it's close, then they're going to let it go. Let's take a look at Trujillo's feet on this one. So if I stop it here at the point of contact, we don't have the overhead view anyway, but there's no pivot before contact is made, and this is a minor heel lift. So yeah, this is a clean strike from Trujillo. Absolute hammer. And it was ridiculous that Dakota was able to take this and stay in the fight. All right, so Dakota, round 3, right on 3.
Right on 3.
Trujillo sits him down. Let's see if McGregor can answer.
Look at the shoulders of Trujillo, all kind of shelled up. They're not supposed to do that. Good shot.
Okay, good shot from Dakota. Now watch Trujillo. He does the nom, working the crowd. This is where they were chanting USA. You can kind of read his lips there. It was pretty dope. But think about it from Dakota's angle. Like, that could get in your head. He showed maturity being able to block that out. All right, let's take a closer look. Boom. I mean, yeah, right on the chin again. Trujillo just eats it. All right, let's take a look from this angle. Boom. Okay, you'll see a little bit of a lean into it from Trujillo. I mean, this guy knows what you can and can't get away with. He has a ton of fights under his belt. He's one of the true original OGs, all the way back from the trial event. All right, so Trujillo, right on 3.
Go to McGregor. Go to sleep right now. What do you think? I say yes. This is the end.
Boom. Dakota stumbles, grabs the table. It looked like Herzog was going to do the 10 count there, but he might have waved it off, or somebody off the stage was starting to initiate the 10 count for him, and he waved him off, one of those two. But regardless, he didn't start the 10 count. He's not counting here. But Dakota, again, textbook, grabs the table, stays for as long as the ref will allow, and then walks in a straight line. And you'll see he kind of does like the little, like, he adds like a little bit of flavor to his walk, which makes him seem straight. Like he does like a little bit of like, almost like the Conor McGregor walk, to be honest. He like shifts his shoulders back and forth like in a swaggy way. And that makes it look like you're okay, even if you're not. Good shit from Dakota there. That was a huge shot, and he was able to stay on his feet. All right, let's take a closer look. Boom, stop it here. Okay, so in the target area. And so this one was close as to whether or not it's too deep. Now, I mentioned that some of the placements could have been close and that we have to pay attention to whether or not there was movement on the defensive side. I think right there from the overhead, he kind of dips a little bit and turns. So this is an example of what I said earlier, where as long as the striker lands a powerful and effective strike, if there's movement, they're probably going to let it go. If Trujillo had completely missed there, I think that they probably would have called a flinch. Now let's take a look at Trujillo's feet. I have a white line going through his right foot to show where it's positioned during his windup, and then what I'll do is I'll stop it at the point of contact, and then I'll add another white line to see if there was movement. Okay, so if you stop it here, you'll see that his foot is now pointing straight. And so this is the point of contact. So in my opinion, this is a step, and they missed one here. He was just a little bit early here. And it just makes it more impressive that Dakota was able to eat it and stay on his feet. All right, so round 4, Dakota, right on 3.
I think he's going to go to sleep next round.
No lean, fair blow.
Well, he's been landing great shots, but Trujillo's just been eating them up like they're snack cakes.
There's been no damage done on the side of McGregor. whereas Trujillo's nearly buried him every single time. That's a good shot.
Okay, good shot from Dakota. Trujillo thinks it was low, starts pointing at his neck. You'll see him chirping here. Look at his face, it's starting to get busted up. There appear to be some finger marks behind his ear, which shouldn't be there. So that's a little weird because his shot didn't look too deep, but we'll take another look at it. All over the target area, the side of his face is marked up now. Dakota was actually hitting him with good shots. Boom, stop it here. Okay, so yeah, this one on the borderline as far as being too deep, but again, have to pay attention to whether or not there was movement. So if we loop it real quick, you'll see that Trujillo ducks slightly into the strike. You know, without the angle, if there is movement, you really have to give the striker the benefit of the doubt. I said that they didn't give the over the right shoulder view of Dakota when he was slapping at all in this fight, and that would have been handy here. And that's what you need on this one to really tell where it lands. But regardless, Trujillo able to eat it. It looked to me like he felt that one the most out of all of them. So Trujillo right on 3.
Prove me wrong, it's him. But as I said, rounds 2, 3, and 4 getting hurt. Let's see.
Dakota eats it, stares at him, nods his head. Dakota ate that shit. That was wild. I would have loved to have seen Dakota engage the crowd a little bit right here. Like, you just ate the slap, so you could technically play this one off. You'll see that Dakota has a good shin tuck. The only thing I don't like about Dakota's stance on defense is that if you look closely, like, his head is kind of turned to the right a little bit, which means that opens up your face and the target area and would ultimately, in my opinion, just make it easier to hit the target area and the button. Boom, stop it here. Okay, so this one looks like it could have been deep. You'll see that when Dakota bites down, his head drops a little bit. If you move, you're just not going to get the clubbing call. That's a dope picture. I need that shit framed. Again, as long as it's a good, powerful slap, they're going to let it go. I remember hearing here that Dakota thinks that he hurt his hand on one of those slaps, and Wolverine, this was the only blunder in his coaching in this fight from what I could see. He actually told Dakota that there's still 2 rounds when he had already just slapped his 4th slap, so there's only 1 round left. So he made it seem like Dakota was going to have to land 2 more slaps, in my opinion. So, I mean, I get the confusion because they don't update the round until Dakota gets back in the box, but somewhat of a blunder there. Because think about it, if his hand is hurt, you know, and he knows that he has to slap 2 more times, maybe he takes a little bit off of it, thinking that he has to slap twice. So yeah, I was confused by that. So Dakota, round 5, right on 3.
You can see redness on the side of McGregor.
Make sure we're fair. Yeah. Right on what?
All right, round 5, the final round. He is down huge, needs a knockout here, does McGregor. Trujillo.
Another good shot. And now look at Trujillo walking around, doing laps, pointing at people, chanting USA, working the crowd. Boom. Gets all the way through. You can tell how strong Trujillo's neck is because the slap definitely slows down when he follows through because Trujillo's neck is just putting so much force on the strike. All right, so Trujillo, round 5, right on 3.
Round. You want to be the champ, but you want to get it done by knockout.
Boom. Okay, Dakota stumbles, grabs the table, and then immediately grabs onto Trujillo. I mean, obviously this was a show of respect, but he looked a little wobbly there, so I wouldn't be surprised if Trujillo felt his wobbliness a little bit when he grabbed onto him. You can even see Herzog gives him a look while they're hugging. But both guys, class acts, so much mutual respect. I mean, they just slapped the living fuck out of each other for 5 rounds. All right, let's take a closer look. Boom, stop it here. I mean, yeah, that'll do. That will do. Clips him right on the button. All right, so they gave the overhead view on this one, so let's take a look at it. So on this one, now it was a lot less than the other one, but they let it go. At the end of the day, they basically just let everything go. And so I'd rather that than call only on one side. And yeah, that was a fucking battle, straight up. It had everything you'd want from a fight, including the crowd work. Like, the crowd was bumping. That might have been the most live the arena was. I thought Dakota showed out. I thought that he really showcased his toughness. this is definitely not the last time you're going to see these two go at it. And it could be sooner than you think. So you'll see Dakota hyping up the crowd here. This was what we needed a little bit. Like 1 or 2 of the slaps that he took and was okay. I would have liked to have seen him been doing this like in between slaps. That could potentially win you a round. So yeah, you live and you learn. Dakota will be better for it moving forward. Unless Trujillo gets that Blackburn fight, which I don't think will happen because both guys want to be the double champs. So Trujillo wants to go up to 70, but Babyface wants to go down to 55 because whoever stays in their division won't be a double champ. They'll only be defending their belt. So the person that goes down or up a weight class will be the one that would actually be double champ. So I think that's going to be part of the negotiation, and I don't see that happening, to be honest with you. Not to say that it's not possible down the line. I just don't think that that's something they would do right away, especially when they just built this division. So you could honestly give Dakota a rematch here, or we've seen that Josh actually wants to come back and fight, and he called out Trujillo and Dakota. So there's a world where you could do Josh versus Trujillo. You could do Josh versus Dakota, and then Riley versus Trujillo. Riley might need one more win just because technically he's 1-2, which sucks because I actually think he got screwed in his first fight. But regardless, so Riley might need one more. There's just so many matches you can make at lightweight right now. And so, yeah, nothing but good things to come from the lightweight division, in my opinion. I think that this division will be one of the best when it's all said and done. And I hope to see a lot of lightweight action in the next few cards to really get the division moving again because it was stagnant for a long time. But yeah, overall, great fight. Congrats to Trujillo. And Dakota fought a great fight. Can't wait to see him fight again. He's going to be even better next time you see him. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this. Until next time, like, comment, subscribe. Peace.